Imagine carrying a bag filled with stones, each one a regret, a failure, a moment you wish you could erase. Now imagine being told that bag is not your identity, that it does not define the path you will walk. What if I told you that your future is not measured by what you have stumbled over, but by the direction your heart chooses today? We all have histories we cannot rewrite. We have moments we wish we could undo, but here is the truth: your past is a teacher, not a jailer. Every mistake, every disappointment, every heartbreak carries within it a lesson, a whisper that points you toward what truly matters. Purpose is the compass that guides us beyond the shadows of yesterday. It is the calling that stirs our hearts and gives meaning to every step. While the past can tell a story of limitation, purpose whispers of possibility. It says, you are more than what you have been. You are becoming what you were meant to be. Think of the person who failed countless times before discovering their true path. The artist rejected, the leader doubted, the student discouraged. Each of them transformed by a single realization. Their value is not in what they lost, but in what they are destined to give. Purpose does not erase failure, but it redeems it. Ask yourself what stirs your spirit, what injustice moves you to action, what dream keeps knocking even when you try to ignore it. Within these questions lies your purpose, a beacon pointing forward, beyond shame, beyond doubt, beyond fear. Do not let the past chain your footsteps. Do not allow old mistakes to script your story. Stand now and choose your purpose. Let it guide your decisions, fuel your courage, and close your eyes for a moment and picture your life as a path stretching ahead of you. Behind you are countless footsteps, some confident, some hesitant, some weighed down by mistakes and regrets. How often do we find ourselves looking back, thinking, if only I had done this differently, if only I had chosen better, if only I had been stronger. Those thoughts grip the mind and make the future feel uncertain. Like a stormy sea we are afraid to navigate. But pause and consider this. Every person in this world, no matter how successful or admired, has walked through shadows of doubt, fear, and failure. They are not exceptions, they are examples. The difference between those who remain trapped in the past and those who rise is not luck, not talent, not circumstance. It is a moment, a decision, to lift the gaze forward, to focus on what could be instead of what has been. Think about the people around you who inspire you. Do you think they became remarkable because they never stumbled? No, they stumbled. They fell, they carried scars invisible to the world, and yet they moved forward. There is a spark within you that responds to purpose, to calling, to a reason that is bigger than yesterday's mistakes. That spark waits for acknowledgement. That spark waits for you to choose it over the weight of what you cannot change. And here is the truth that most people overlook. The longer you cling to the past, the heavier it feels, and the more it limits your potential. The mind loves to replay failures as if they are evidence of who we are, but they are not. They are moments like stones in a river that can either anchor you in regret or guide your steps forward if you learn to navigate around them. The urgency is real and it is personal. Life does not wait for reflection alone. It moves forward, moment by moment, with opportunities hiding in plain sight. If you do not claim your purpose now, you may find yourself years later, looking back with the same question. Why did I wait so long? Every heartbeat is a chance to step out of the shadows of what was and move toward what can be. Every decision, no matter how small, signals whether you will let the past define you, or whether you will choose something far greater. A future shaped by purpose, not limitation. Every person carries a story, a personal history that is filled with victories, mistakes, regrets, and moments that shaped who they are. It is easy to look at ourselves through the lens of failure, to believe that a single wrong choice or a painful experience defines us completely. We often replay memories in our minds, remembering the times we were embarrassed, the opportunities we missed, the words we wish we hadn't spoken. These moments can feel heavy, like chains that weigh down our spirit, and many people allow them to dictate how they see themselves, how they interact with the world, and even how they dream about the future. But consider this: the past is not a cage, it is a classroom. Every experience, whether painful or joyful, carries a lesson designed to guide you, to show you where you have strength, where you need growth, and what truly matters to you. When we stop labeling our mistakes as permanent failures and start seeing them as moments of learning, our perspective changes. The shame and guilt we often carry are not reflections of who we are. They are reflections of what we once didn't understand. Human beings are wired to seek patterns, to remember the things that hurt us, but those memories do not have to control our story. Every scar, every setback, every heartbreak has the potential to become a foundation for wisdom and resilience. Those who grow through life do not ignore their past, they honor it. They acknowledge it, feel it, and then decide how it will influence their next steps. Society teaches us to measure ourselves against perfection, to compare ourselves with others who seem to have it all together. But the truth is that every individual has struggled, every individual has stumbled. The difference is in the awareness that the past is only a part of the journey, not the definition of the destination. By confronting it, by accepting it, by understanding it, we release its power to hold us back. We transform memories of failure into fuel for courage. We transform moments of pain into maps that point us toward growth. And when we do this, something remarkable happens. We begin to see ourselves not as victims of our history, but as architects of our future, capable of building a life guided not by fear of the past, but by clarity of purpose. Purpose is the invisible force that gives life direction, meaning, and clarity. It is what moves a person out of confusion and hesitation and into action, even when the path ahead is uncertain. Unlike the past, which is fixed and unchangeable, purpose is living and dynamic. It responds to your choices, your desires, and your willingness to engage with the world in a way that matters. Every person has moments when life feels random, when the noise of daily struggles drowns out the sense of calling inside. In those moments, purpose acts like a compass, pointing the way forward, reminding us that our life is not a series of accidents, but a journey with intention. Purpose does not erase the mistakes we have made, but it reframes them, giving them context and meaning. It tells us that yesterday's failures are not walls, but stepping stones, that what once felt like a loss can become the foundation for growth. Humans are wired to search for significance, to want to feel that their lives matter, and purpose satisfies that need in a way nothing else can. It gives shape to actions that would otherwise seem random and courage to steps that would otherwise feel risky. When we act with purpose, our work, our relationships, and our decisions begin to align, and life feels less like survival and more like contribution. Purpose is also deeply personal. It is not defined by society, by trends, or by the expectations of others. It emerges from the combination of your talents, your experiences, and your deepest convictions. It is a flame within you that burns quietly, waiting for recognition, waiting for you to listen. Some people discover purpose through passion, others through suffering, others through service to others, but the effect is the same. Clarity replaces confusion, and determination replaces doubt. Even small acts done with purpose ripple outward, affecting lives, changing communities, and shaping futures in ways that are often invisible but profoundly real. When a person chooses purpose over regret, over fear, over hesitation, they step into a life that is fully theirs, guided not by what has happened before, but by what they are meant to create, the difference they are meant to make, and the story they are meant to live. Purpose transforms ordinary existence into intentional living, and it is available to anyone willing to search, willing to listen, and willing to act. Look around and you will see countless examples of people who refused to be defined by their past, who rose above failure, doubt, and hardship to live lives of meaning. Consider the student who struggled through repeated failures, each test seeming to mark them as incapable, yet who continued to study, to practice, and to believe in their ability to grow. In time, that same student discovered a talent, a voice, or a calling that transformed their life and allowed them to inspire others. Think about the entrepreneur who faced rejection after rejection, whose ideas were dismissed, whose confidence was tested, yet who pressed on, learning from each setback until they built something that changed the lives of many. Every setback they faced was not a sign of weakness, but a lesson, a training ground for resilience, strategy, and vision. Or consider the artist who poured heart and soul into work that was ignored, ridiculed, or misunderstood, only to later find an audience that valued the uniqueness of their perspective. In every story like this, the common thread is the choice to keep moving forward, to use the past as a teacher rather than a judge. Humans are naturally drawn to narrative. We remember stories far more than abstract advice. When we see real examples, it becomes clear that failure is not final and struggle is not shameful. Each life has its own rhythm, its own pattern of challenge and breakthrough, and purpose is what transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary impact. The people who inspire us did not begin as perfect, nor did they achieve success without struggle. They discovered a reason bigger than themselves, a reason that outweighed fear, disappointment, or self-doubt. They refused to let old labels stick, refused to let the judgments of others dictate their worth, and refused to let one mistake define a lifetime. These examples exist not just to admire, but to guide. They are proof that human beings can pivot from despair to action, from limitation to achievement, from fear to courage. If someone else could do it, someone who once felt defeated or invisible, then the same opportunity exists for every one of us. Every failure, every rejection, every misstep can be reframed as a building block for something greater if we allow purpose to take the lead. Stories are powerful because they are mirrors, showing us what is possible when a person chooses to act despite their past and to live intentionally, focused on the path their heart is meant to follow. Take a moment to turn inward and ask yourself questions that matter, questions that stir something deep inside. What makes your heart race with excitement? What pulls at your spirit even when life feels heavy or unfair? What small voice inside you refuses to be silenced? The one that keeps nudging you towards something bigger than yourself. These are not idle thoughts. They are signals pointing toward your purpose. Many people go through life answering to external pressures, comparing themselves to others, chasing approval or recognition, and they never pause to discover what is truly theirs. Yet human beings are wired to seek meaning, to want to feel that their actions matter, that their lives leave an imprint. Personal reflection is the bridge between where you are and where you are meant to be. It requires honesty, courage, and patience. It asks you to acknowledge not only your strengths, but also the fears, doubts, and patterns that have held you back. Reflection is not a passive exercise. It is an active choice to listen to yourself, to sit with discomfort, and to confront the questions that society often discourages you from asking. When you look inward with intention, you begin to notice patterns. The moments when you felt most alive, the tasks that felt effortless yet fulfilling, the causes or people that awaken empathy and energy within you. These observations are clues, pieces of a puzzle that only you can assemble. It is easy to underestimate the importance of this step because it does not produce immediate results. But without reflection, purpose can remain hidden, buried beneath distractions, routines, and the weight of other people's expectations. Reflection allows you to connect your past experiences, both successes and failures, with the person you are becoming. It gives perspective on what truly drives you and what you are willing to dedicate your time, energy, and heart to. Human sociology shows that self-awareness is the foundation of influence, resilience, and fulfillment. When you know yourself deeply, you are less likely to be swayed by external judgments and more likely to act in alignment with your authentic calling. Questions are powerful tools because they make you an active participant in your life rather than a passive observer. By engaging with them regularly, you begin to uncover patterns of purpose, glimpses of your potential, and the unique contribution only you can make. Reflection is the practice that turns experience into insight and insight into intentional action. Every day presents a choice, a moment where you can either let the past dictate your life or step forward and claim the future you were meant to live. Action is what separates intention from reality, thought from transformation. It is not enough to dream, to reflect, or to hope. Purpose demands movement. Even the smallest step taken with clarity and courage has the power to ripple outward, changing your life and the lives of those around you in ways you cannot yet see. Many people wait for the perfect time, the right conditions, or the sudden inspiration, but life does not pause while you wait. Each moment spent hesitating is a moment lost, a moment where fear and doubt gain strength. Human beings are wired to respond to momentum. Action fuels confidence, and confidence fuels further action. When you begin to act, even imperfectly, you prove to yourself that your past does not define you, and that you have the capacity to shape your own destiny. Consider the person who finally decided to speak their truth, to pursue a dream, to take responsibility for change. The act of beginning, no matter how small, set in motion opportunities, growth, and transformation that would have remained impossible if they had lingered in regret or fear. Action also teaches resilience. It shows you that failure is not a permanent state, that mistakes are part of learning, and that persistence is stronger than any obstacle. Society often teaches patience, but patience without action becomes stagnation. Purpose requires moving forward, even when the road is unclear, even when the outcomes are uncertain. It asks for courage, consistency, and a willingness to confront discomfort. Every step you take in alignment with your purpose strengthens your sense of agency and diminishes the hold of past failures. Action transforms knowledge into power, insight into impact, and intention into achievement. By acting now, you model possibility for others, showing that transformation is accessible to anyone who chooses to step forward. Humans are social creatures, inspired not only by ideas but by visible effort, commitment, and courage. Each time you act despite doubt, despite past mistakes, you reinforce the belief that your life is defined not by what has happened to you, but by what you choose to create.